In this activity, we are going to create a VPN client connection in order to connect to our VPN server, as well as confirming that our radius authentication is now working. Let's jump on in. For our VPN authentication to work, the first thing we need to do is configure a user in our domain to log in for our VPN authentication. So on server DC1, I'm going to go to Server Manager, Tools, Active Directory, Users and Computers. Inside Active Directory, Users and Computers, I'm going to go ahead and create a user. So right-click, New User. And I will call this VPN Test 1 with a login of VPN Test 1. Password 01. And then I'm going to uncheck change password, as well as select user cannot change password. And never expires. Sure, why not? And finish. At this point, I'm going to go into VPN Test 1 and I'm going to go to the Dial-In tab. And right now it says control access through NPS. I'm going to change that to allow. Once that's done, we'll say OK. And now our user is set up and should be able to log in. Now we get to go over to server SA1 in order to configure the VPN configuration. First thing I need to do is disable Ethernet 0. I actually have it right here already. That's great. I'm going to right-click Ethernet 0 and disable. And at this point, this machine no longer has access to the quote production network and is only on our simulated internet connection. Additionally, we can go ahead and verify that the Ethernet 1 has an IP address of 172.31.101. 101, which is the correct simulated internet connection. Let's go ahead and go into our, oh, got it right there. Go to our network connections. I'm going to click VPN and then add a VPN connection. VPN provider, still Windows built in. Connection name, we'll call this Test VPN. Server name, 172.31.0.240. And VPN type and sign in we will leave as default. Go ahead and save. One of the things we may want to do in here is under Test VPN, we want to click Advanced Options. Correction, that is the wrong place. What we want to do is we want to go back to our network connections where we have Ethernet 0, Ethernet 1, and Test VPN. I'm going to right-click Test VPN and go into Properties. Yes, Properties. On the Security tab, I want to change the authentication type. I'm going to specify only allow these protocols, and then I'm going to make sure MSChap v2 is the only option that is selected. The other options may work, however, we know our VPN server was configured for MSChap v2, and therefore specifying only CHAP v2 in our client will make the connections more consistently successful. All right, we'll say OK. Back to our network settings, our VPN connections. We'll go ahead and connect. And for our login info, that is now AZ800 /VPN test1 password 01. And OK. And there we go. We are now connected. Unlike our prior VPN activities where we logged into server DM1, in this case, we are now logged into server SA1. And just to confirm, let's go ahead and open up a PowerShell prompt. Let's do an IP config, and we will see we now have a different IP address assigned to our VPN account. If I go into server DC1, we can go to Tools and Event Viewer. And under Windows Logs, we want to go to Windows Logs Security. And in this event, or in this one, we are looking for a specific security ID. It looks like 6272. And when we click on that, we can, let's actually double click it. We can see the network policy server granted access to a user, specifically VPN test 1 was allowed. The client machine, oops, we can see that this was coming from the .240 address from the .101 address. So the client was 101 connected to the server 240. And the internal IP address for server DM1, and then the radius information as well. Once we are done with that, we can go ahead and come back to server SA1 and simply disconnect our network connection, and we're done with this activity.